played before, and it was very relatable.
Oh, was it?
I think that's probably the best way to describe it.
In that you kill people and stuff like
No,
that?
not in that sense. In the sort of chemsex sense, like I think a lot of people in London that are gay will have had experiences with that, whether it's been themselves or friends. You actually invented the term chemsex, which is interesting. How did you coin that phrase? When did that happen?
I sort of did, in the sense that the word chems was being used kind of colloquially about. It was about year 2000, I suppose. It was when, you know, before smartphones got really smart and we were just texting, and I used to do a whole lot of drugs, and we couldn't, and I'm a lot older than I look. I like to think I'm 52, but I'm not older than I look. So I remember before we had phones that you could text with and everything. And then when this texting stuff came, we were really nervous about talking about drugs, and we didn't know if the police could see our new phones that we were unfamiliar with. Chems is just one of the words that came up, but I was just really high, saw one weekend with a bunch of guys, and we put the word chems and sex together because we were the Chemsex Club.
The Chemsex Club. Oh my God.
So I don't know if I made up the term, but that's the first time I've heard it.
So, who here has not heard of what chemsex is before? Anyone in the room not know what chemsex was? Yeah, cool. So we're all on board.
Because it's not all about murder. I want you to know.
So what else is it about? And why do gay people do it?
Okay, well, there's been loads of drug use epidemics throughout history. In the late 1800s, there was a whole lot of people traveling from Asia to California for the Californian gold rush, and they brought opium with them. And opium, which is an opiate, it's very different from heroin, but it's essentially the same drug, but it's different culturally. And if you and me were going to go to California in the late 1800s to help a population with a drug problem, we'd have to understand Asian culture, particularly Asian American culture, racism, and put it all into context. So that was one drug use epidemic. Another one was the African American crack cocaine epidemic, and that was an drug use epidemic that was born of racism and awful injustices within the criminal justice system. It was Ronald Reagan saying that crack cocaine is a black problem, and all these, if you want to understand the epidemic that is crack cocaine in America in those decades, you have to understand the context and the racism and the time and the culture and everything about it. We've got the heroin epidemic now, which is, I think, understood. You know, you don't do heroin to go out and have a laugh or to have a good time or to go dancing. It serves a very distinct purpose. And then we have chemsex. And when I was engaging in chemsex, and more importantly later on when I was looking for help, I kept getting channeled towards heroin services. Whereas I needed help with Grindr, and I needed help with gay sex, and I needed help with Grindr culture and hookup culture and gay sex and internalized homophobia and wanting to put my legs in the air without this weird needing to play this girly role, which I've been taught not to be feminine all my life. All this weird gay sex stuff. It was gay sex stuff I needed help with. Drugs weren't the problem for me. I was having a problem with modern hookup culture, with an AIDS epidemic, and with gay sex and the world hating the sex I have. They might have waved the flags at the gay pride and stuff, but gay sex, shit on dicks stuff is why I was using drugs. And drugs weren't the problem, they were kind of a solution to the problem. So chemsex
was it enabling gay sex? What do you mean?
I don't know, yes. Well, you bravely said that you had engaged in chemsex, so why would you say you were doing it?
Well, before I get to that, can I ask you what you mean by, is it an epidemic?
Yeah.
It is it?
Yeah, I don't know what an epidemic is. I know it's a syndemic, but syndemic isn't about geography or population or size of things. It's about the synergy of different epidemics coming together. So sexual health, sexual behavior, gay sex, technology, hookup culture, new drugs. Chems are not ecstasy. Chems are crystal meth, methadone, and G.
Yeah.
People, you and I might have been, if you and me were going to have sex on ecstasy, it's not going to become a big problem. In fact, gay men are having sex on ecstasy for decades, and we didn't see lots of gay men rushing to A&E departments. We didn't see gay men getting addicted to these things or rushing to get needles to inject them. We didn't see huge rises in HIV because of gay men having sex on ecstasy. What we saw was a whole lot of gay men loving each other, really. Crystal meth, methadone, and G were delivered en masse, overnight practically, by a Grindr and services like that.
Yeah.
Across the world. And it's epidemic. And I work in a clinic now where we have 4,000 gay men who keep come each month who use chems for sex. Not all problematically, but they're coming with the consequences of it.
Okay.
You're going to answer your question?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't think I've engaged, or at least I wouldn't have, I've not talked about it, so I don't think I've engaged in chemsex as it's sort of referred to in this play, but I have once taken G. This is being live streamed, so that's kind of terrible.
Thank you for doing this, by the way.
But I don't see that as like shocking, really, in my community. That's pretty normal, which is probably bad.
I don't know what bad is, but we all deserve to have fun and to be disinhibited. We deserve to enjoy great sex and to feel good and be part of a community disinhibitedly. You know, the gay clubbing and dancing is something that's born of coming together as a community when the straight world hated us.
Yeah, I think that's what the core of this is about, isn't it? Is it about shame, and it's about feeling like we don't fit in, so we're kind of just pushing in towards, we're just running more in towards that?
It's definitely an ingredient. Yeah. That's when it can become problematic. Some people just use drugs and do chemsex just for fun and pleasure. And sometimes pleasure is easy, and sometimes pleasure is without harm. And sometimes it's hard to experience pleasure because there's obstacles making it fun. Like I have people who sit in front of me and they might boast that they can have sober sex, but when I talk to them a little bit more and I ask them, you know, can you just lie back and get a blowjob? And just, your head can go clear and just enjoy the sensations without the noise we were talking about in the play. Enjoy the sensations of a wet mouth on your penis and just enjoy and feel entitled to that experience. Or is there like this noise in your head that's going, like we heard the noises in the play tonight, but the noises might be, how long do I stay in this position for? What do I do in reciprocation? Can he see how ugly I really am, or is he buying this performance? Who will be top, who will be bottom? His ass is moving down, his fingers are moving down to my ass, I hope I'm douched, and what does he expect of me after this? And I hope everything goes okay, and if everything does go okay, and to erections maintain, and to orgasms happen within, you know, appropriate time difference from each other, something else you've got to figure out with the noise.
Yeah.
If everything goes okay, then they might lie together after sex and say, that was nice, that was good sex. But that wasn't good sex. That was an amazing performance. That was two people trying to avoid rejection and trying to enjoy sex in the mood, in the noise.
Wow. So when I was watching that play, I assumed the noise, I don't know if anyone else felt the same, I thought the noise was something to do with addiction, and something that happens if you take a lot of chems. I didn't realise the noise was...
That's what the noise was for me.
Right.
Christopher Adams, where are you, Chris? Sitting here. He's busy at the moment. He could probably answer it better. But I think he probably... thought the noise is personal to everybody. And the noise might be addiction, and noise might be, I was abused as a child and sex is complicated. The noise might be, I wasn't loved for great decades of my life, or I was loved provided I acted straight, but I wasn't loved as gay, and that might be the noise. The noise might be being in bed and trying to enjoy a dick up your bum without this vision of your mum at the end of the bed criticising you for letting her down. Or God, a religious symbol in the bedroom while you're trying to enjoy filthy gay sex. All that kind of stuff, you know,
and I guess,
be anything.
Yeah, we all have probably got a lot of that through the way society has sort of taught to us as we were growing up, gay or whatever. Tell us about the work you do then to help people with chemsex issues.
Okay, so my work is...
and actually, when would you say it is an issue? When does it become an issue?
That's not for me to decide. I mean, it's an issue if somebody thinks it is.
Okay.
If you mentioned that you'd done drugs.
Yeah.
It's really about consequences. If you find the consequences are bothering you, then you could make changes, but some people struggle to make changes.
So that's like anything, like eating too much fast food?
Yeah.
Like if you just get to a point where you feel personally like it's...
Yeah, I mean, let's say it was something like ecstasy, something that's low harm. You might be having a great time every Saturday night, but I might be your co-worker on Monday, and it might really fucking piss me off because you always show up late and you're always in a bad mood on Monday, so I might see your ecstasy use as a problem, but you don't. So it's wrong for me to say it's a problem.
Right.
But if you felt it was a problem, you could come forward and ask for some help, and that's where chemsex support comes in.
And what would the support be like?
Helping people weigh up those pros and cons and consequences. Some people, what's typical, to be honest, is, you saw in the play tonight some of the psychosexual complexities that go on, you know, when you open that Pandora's box to fantasies. I mean, there was stuff about, I need to talk to Christopher Adams more about this, but the stuff about fancying younger men. There was issues of grooming in there. We know that the play was about a real-life murder. So sometimes we can handle our fantasies are all okay. They're all okay. But when we cross over from being able to protect ourselves from harm and others from harm, that's when it can become a problem. What really I see a lot, and the chemsex support I to do is people sort of saying, I had a really, really good time, I felt so good, it was the best sexual disinhibition I've ever felt in my life, but it came with the consequences, like I missed a day at work, or I missed 2 days at work, or I was psychotic and paranoid for the whole last day. Didn't sleep, people treated me like shit, but I didn't care because I was just really high. I didn't have a good experience, and I don't want to do it again, but I will, and I don't know why. Help me. That's basically it.
And is that process of help, is that talking about it, trying to get to the root of what's going on? Is that how that works?
It's exploring what a person wants to do, what their goals for their drug use might be, helping them de-shame the experiences happening to them, helping them to identify a goal of what they want to change if they do. It is the same, like you said, about whether it's eating chocolate or something. If you have trouble achieving your goals, whatever they might be, you can get someone to help you do that by talking about it and setting goals and helping you accomplish them.
Right. It is annoying, isn't it, that we have to have all this shame and all of this, like...
Fuck yes.
Yeah, shit.
Your generation shouldn't be saying that.
Really, why?
It's my generation that should be complaining about it.
No, I think, well, I'm kind of in the generation, I would say, that is... I think we're all living in a hangover of the 80s. So I do feel that, like, regardless of age, people will still be affected by... Like, my parents grew up with newspapers that said all gay people should be gassed so that we can stop the spread of AIDS. So my mum's got that in her head, that's gonna trickle down, isn't it? So I think we've all got this problem, regardless of having gay marriage in some of the UK and stuff. So this play was written by Chris, and he was inspired by the situation in London where a lot of guys were turning up dead, overdosed on G. Can you talk a bit more about that for us?
It's based, not loosely, but not entirely, on the Stephen Port killings. Stephen Port killed 4 men, and they weren't. It's a serial kill, basically, but it wasn't identified as such for quite a few years.
Right.
The reason it's important culturally is because it really it put chemsex on the front pages of news in ways that probably were stigmatizing, but also frightening for a community. You know, for a community that had adopted drug use as a pleasurable and helpful thing through difficult times, to suddenly see it so dangerous. We're also a gay world that's coming to terms with hookup culture and the technological role in that, and knowing that technology can be used to groom and kill people. Suddenly that grinder wasn't as safe as we thought it was. And then although there were 4 killings, nobody could really figure out if these were accidental overdoses, because you talked about G before and how normal it was in our community. It's killing 2 gay men a month. In fact, there was one this morning. It's killing 2 gay men a month. And people I know and that I've held hands with, and people that you might know, people you might not know very well, but you hear about it on Facebook. It's a really complicated drug to manage safely. And people die. And are they dying because they took too much intentionally or unintentionally by accident, because someone else gave them too much, accidentally or too much? And there was Stephen Port with those killings. And was he just, shit, I've killed somebody, and in his mental health, rather than take responsibility for it, he hit them, or was he intentionally killing them? Why does a person need someone to be high to enjoy sex with them anyway, which is a big theme of the play? All of these things are suddenly in the gay consciousness, and working in a sexual health clinic where people come to talk about their gay sex lives, it was potent. And it was potent for a community that was losing people only a few decades after we'd lost so many to AIDS, and now deaths are happening again. So it needed to be talked about. Why I love this play so much is because I like it when really complicated things that we struggle to talk about or to come to terms with, theatre helps us to do that. You know, here was these complex themes disguised kind of in a play. It was a noir thriller that had funny moments, and it was fast-paced, and sometimes it's easier to process that shit from the safety of your seats rather than having to sit in front of a counsellor and tell her about or something like that.
Yeah, and there's good humour in there too about not being quite yet 33. Yeah.
I'm sure that's a great quote, wasn't it, Chris? You were quoting me.
Neither bizarre yet. Do you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask David? I can't actually see, so you might need to sort of make yourself very obvious.
I'm very curious to know, for some people this is a noir thriller, and for some people this was about some weird psychosexual stuff. I'm curious how you saw it. Tell me.
Curious obsession on this century film.
Say that again.
Curious obsession about mid-century furniture.
That's a very good point.
I'm just glad these don't have wheels on them. We're quite safe here.
Yeah. Why was there an obsession with mid-century furniture, Chris?
Oh God. I was partly interested in the in kind of the class issue of that chemsex affects kind of all classes of gay men.
Yeah.
And personally, as a writer, I'm from the States originally, but I live in North London, and writing something about the North, like a North London gay set, was something that I felt confident in my ability to do, because I've lived here for 10 years now, and it's my first play that's kind of truly set in Britain, and so it was just a world that I felt I could, or I was interested in trying to capture. So.
It is interesting, and there's that whole thing about plugging in together, isn't there, throughout the play? And I think that what you just said then is true about how it's lots of different types of people all coming together, and there's that kind of spirit of we're all in this together, like a Dunkirk kind of weird spirit thing going on that occurs at these parties that you do feel happy to be in.
Community's a part of this. It really, really is. I mean, we're talking about a gay community that's trying to find connection, that didn't have, growing up gay, and is sometimes the only gay in the family, or the only gay at school. You're not, but you think you are the only gay in the village, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's a very lonely, isolated kind of thing. So all human beings, quite a lot of mammals, actually need community. We need society. We've gathered around campfires and steeples. Monkeys pick nits off each. We need community and social life urgently. And as gay men, as lone gay men in the family, we need that community too. Sometimes when community seems very detached or lonely or unconnected, like hookups rather than real connections, or clubbing where you're just high or something, or it's only nighttime connections rather than authentic connections. And sometimes the community spirit that can be shared by 10 men in a room, naked, sexually disinhibited and free, is a really important ingredient of chemsex and social life.
So what would be your hope, like, as a counsellor with chemsex? What do you want to happen? What's the best thing to do? Is it just talking about it?
Oh, it's multifaceted. But what we do need is, I know this. I know that if every gay kid that experienced at age 6, their parents and community, not just saying it's okay that you're gay, but saying it's fucking awesome that you're gay. Like, really fucking awesome. Ring the church bell steeple, tell the neighbours, tell everybody, get the streamers out, and let's have a great time. This is awesome. And he's also going to enjoy great gay sex. And he'll be able to talk about that as he goes through his teens, and he won't look weirdly through it on television, these tiny little hints. He'll be out and proud about it, and it's be talked about in sex education in school. AIDS won't have ruined his sex life. If all of those things didn't exist, then chemsex wouldn't exist. Plain and simple. So, I mean, what I want for chemsex is for the world to change, its attitudes towards not just homosexuality, because that's doing leaps and bounds. You know, you can get married now. I'm talking about attitudes towards gay sex. I put my dick in people. That's such a lie. People put their dicks in my bums, and I like it. And I don't want that to be a filthy thing that makes my dad want to beat me up.
Are you only a bottom? You're not like a Merce bottom?
Going downhill now. I'm actually
asking for a friend.
Live stream, folks.
Well, that was an amazing way to end. And I really appreciate what you said about all the things that need to happen for a child to not grow up and then feel like they need this connection in a non-safe space. But that is just so far away, isn't it?
I think it is.
Sorry.
But what we can do
Yeah.
is be kinder to each other. Kinder on Grindr, kinder in the bedrooms. You know that performance sex I was talking about? If we can just... no one's coming to bed with me if they're going to perform this sexual thing. If they feel nervous or uncomfortable or unsexy, I'm going to create a space where they can tell me so. And I'm going to create that space in Occam's Street, and in the bars, and in the clubs, and on Grindr, and on Facebook, and in my bed. And we can all do that. Every one of you can do that. So that's a simple solution that we can all do.
Be kinder.
I
love that. Any final questions? Is everyone good? Any chemsex questions? Okay, great. Well, please give a big round of applause to David.
Thanks,